Okay, awesome. Let's get into it. So, Skippy T, thank you for joining us this morning. So appreciate it. We wanted to get you on a call and really pick your brain because I think between a few of us, we've realized you are someone that just has so much knowledge in this space, so much experience. And I think you've helped a lot of us who are a little bit newer to this space just increase our knowledge bank. And we want to spread that to as many people as we can. And I think, just from my experience in this space so far, I think most people coming in to the Connect ecosystem and looking at all of the incredible projects, I would say most are newbies, new to this whole world of decentralization, Web3, crypto, like this whole world. And when you're new to something, it can be overwhelming. There can be a lot of fear that comes up because there's a lot of unknown. But one thing I'm certain of is when we find the answers and we seek the information from the right people, we can learn really quickly. And so that's what I wanted this call to be about, is kind of just joining some of those dots with some more technical questions. And I know that you're the guy to do that. So before we jump in, I do have a list of questions that people have fired at me that I'm going to pass on to you. But can you share a little bit about, I guess, how long you've been playing in this space yourself, a little bit of background there? Also, why? Like, what caught your attention within this world of decentralization and blockchain? And what excites you based on where we're at in the world right now?
Okay, yeah, let's dive in. So a little bit about me. Skippy T was an old college nickname, which is hilarious, and I had it as my Discord name because there's a thing of anonymous, like in most Discord communities. And then I think Jake and Billy accidentally outed me that Scott Touchton is Skippy T, and I just think it's the funniest thing that now I'm Skippy T to everyone. So, but yeah, so I'm a community member like y'all. So I'm a node owner. I did have a background of, crypto trading and crypto retail trading. But before I got involved in all this, I was not Bitcoin in day one or anything like that, but I was around for a little bit. So when I got involved in Connect and the brands here, I did have a little bit more of a crypto background. And as far as like being able to navigate like some of the different exchanges and stuff like that. So that has allowed me to, I guess, move a little quicker and got involved with like Jake Dietrich and Billy Womack and some of those guys. And I really enjoy like the educational side of it or the teaching side of it. And Jake and I have just kind of gotten ourselves active and for lack of a better word, become go-to people in this environment, and it's been a fun ride. My kids think it's hilarious that I stay up late and talk to people in Australia on the internet, and I was like, yeah, it's so. But yeah, happy to be here. Some of the different projects, what it gets me excited. So like, and I think I shared this on one of the calls I was on, is a lot of the crypto projects. It's all hype. It's just like it's a picture, it's a meme, and like I'll have friends that'll be like, "Oh, you're involved in crypto. Well, have you heard of Shiba? Or have you heard of Pepe? It's this like my golf instructor told me about Pepe. Should I get in Pepe?" I'm like, "No. Like you getting in now, you're someone's exit liquidity." Because there's zero utility for these projects, that's just, and if you go on Pepe's website, it says at the bottom of the website, there's no intrinsic financial value. It says this is for entertainment purposes only. And it says that on the website. And they're in the top 25 on CoinMarketCap. So what gets me excited is projects that actually are doing something and actually trying to solve a real world problem and actually building utility. That I know in Australia, y'all, the Grow marketplace isn't shipping direct yet, but I know y'all are working with some farms there. But the fact that I can, run a node, earn a token, bridge the token, and use that token, and then get a steak in the mail, and then cook that steak and then eat that steak is the coolest thing. And I'm like, I bought the stake with crypto. I mean, it's like that gets me excited. And just all the different projects kind of have their own little thing, but yeah, I get excited about the utility, I guess
I
is
think that there, Skippy T was one of the first things. I think I heard Tony say it, and that's what clicked for me. I was like, yes, because that world, and how often do you see it? Like, a mate at the gym goes, what about this coin? I've got a tip and all of this. And that's how I knew the world of crypto. People waiting for, Elon Musk to do another post about Dogecoin, and then hopefully it goes up and everyone will ride the wave. It was just kind of like is it a hit and miss, a bit of a hope strategy with hype behind it? I just didn't understand it. But it was what you said just then. I think everyone needs to get that, is that these are real businesses. When we say projects, they're real world businesses. And they're operating in the real world with real revenue, USD, AUD, whatever it might be. And so the utility of that token, I was like, okay, now I've got it. And I think it was Tony who said, he said, just wait. He said, because once these go to the primary exchanges, people within the crypto space, probably like what you were doing, Skippy T, before now even, is like they'll just pick it up because they get it. It's like it's got utility, it's got value in it. So I think that's one of the key things as well that I understood. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Elon. Like, so it was kind of the end of last bull run. I remember, so he was on Saturday Night Live, and it was a big deal. And it was like you were buying Doge in hopes that he would mention Dogecoin on Saturday Night Live and then try to sell it at the peak when he mentioned it, because new people are coming in and that's your exit liquidity.
Mhm.
Like that was the last bull run, and now it's like, okay, this is real. These are real projects, and that gets me excited.
Yeah, love that. Okay, let's get into the first question I'd love to ask you. So I think okay, can you take us through the process of when a new project, so we've got these projects, part of the Connect ecosystem, or businesses, same thing when we say that word. When a project first has a token and they aren't yet on the secondary and primary exchanges, so there's no liquidity in it yet, like the buying and selling hasn't started, how does it start? Like, how do we move it? What's the process of moving it from where it is now to that point?
So I guess, how long do we have? Like
We
it's
got
just
time. We got time,
okay.
Skippy.
So I'll also, like, we did like an hour-long conversation on this topic on one of the Billy calls. So I'll try to abbreviate that into like a couple minute answer, and then like we can link back to, so basically, okay, if you look at it, so the way these are structured. So you've got the business. Let's talk about, like, say Switch, for example. So Kathy and Brad are running Switch Reward Card, the company. Okay. So they are making products and services for people to use. And then over here, we have node owners node owners own the blockchain. Like like my favorite analogy is like a homeowners association, so Kathy and Brad are the real estate developers. They bought up a big piece of land and they spent a lot of money putting in roads and building a pool and putting up a gate and selling the lots. And a bunch of us bought these lots and started building home sites. Once it gets to a certain point, those home sites, we start taking over and start a homeowners association. Now, Kathy and Brad still might own a couple home sites there for themselves, but that homeowners association, we're running that homeowners association, and we're figuring out who can keep the pool clean. And okay, the gate broke. Well, that's not on the real estate developer anymore. That's on the homeowners association. So the real estate developers still doing what real estate developers do. So if you take that analogy and transfer it over, okay, Kathy and Brad are building products and services to operate that utilize the Switch blockchain. But we, the node owners, own and govern the Switch blockchain. So they are building products with utility. Okay, so there's a relationship that I guess, a mutually beneficial relationship between the company and the blockchain. Okay, so put a pin in that and come think over here. Okay, so these exchanges, how they make money is transaction fees. Like, if the exchange is a business, the exchange, like let's say Binance, for example, Binance wants users, and Binance wants those users to buy and sell a token. And they're going to make, where they make profit is transaction fees on exchanges. So what they're looking for is projects with communities. They're looking for users. When they list a project, they want to list a project that has users and has community, because they're going to make transaction fees off that community. So they're looking for projects with value. They're looking for projects with utility. They're looking for projects that have a built-in user base, that have these tokens, that want to buy and sell these tokens. They're looking for projects like Grow. Like, I love Grow as an example because everybody eats. So once Grow gets to a point where there's farms in Australia and there's farms in Europe and there's farms in Asia, right? So people are going to buy the Grow token and use this interface that don't even know what a node is. Like, and we all got in early and we got these nodes. So like, the people that are in 2 years, the people that are going to be using the Nourish marketplace or whatever iteration of that is, they're not even going to know what a node is. They just go buy their Grow tokens out of Binance, and then they use that because they get a discount on buying their meat with the Grow token, as opposed to having to buy it at the grocery store. So I don't think I directly answered your question, but I hope I set the tone there. But basically, we're building communities with excitement and utility that are attractive to the exchanges.
Yeah, and you did, Skippy. It makes so much sense that they can pick up what we're doing here, right? So if you've got community, you've got people. It's like anything. It's like all businesses, they don't exist unless there are people, community, numbers. And so there's power in those numbers. So they see the value in the people and community behind those projects, and then they're going to pick them up and put them on those exchanges, because as you said, the more activity with transactions, the more that they earn as a business.
Right. Yep. And yeah, because they're a business. Like, the exchanges aren't a charity. The exchanges, but they want users, they want community, and that's what we're building.
I love that. Can you expand? Okay, so for the new person who is coming in and they become a node owner, can you talk us through the process of, I'm a node owner and then I'm earning these daily digital rewards that we're calling internet money right now, and then someone's telling me at some point I'm going to bridge them. Why am I bridging them? And what does that even mean? And then at some point, they're tokens that I can sell and put into my bank account if I wanted to, turn into fiat if I wanted to. Can you explain that process for the very new person?
Yep. Okay. So a blockchain is a very, very, very dumbed down version. A blockchain is a spread out database, right? So my node is part of that database. My node is helping support that database. So for my participation, I'm basically renting some of my server space. So I'm renting my server space to the blockchain, and my incentive for doing that is this daily distribution of rewards. So I'm receiving a distribution that is basically a transaction. It's a daily transaction. I'm giving you this much of my time. I'm receiving this. My little node goes off to work, right? Okay. So by participating in that, that's what I receive. Okay. So that token, that digital reward, is on the native blockchain. So that's on the Grow blockchain. Okay. That is all right. So that's like a small little ecosystem, the Grow community. So I could use that. That token might have value inside this Grow community, but someone outside of the Grow community might not know what that is. They might not know about it yet, or might not see its value. Okay. So, but if I put that same token on a network that they are familiar with, or a network they can communicate with, there's more accepted mainstream value. That is Ethereum. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bridge my native token over to the Ethereum compatible network. So same token, just another protocol. So I used this analogy earlier today that the Ethereum network is like the United States interstate system, right? So I'm in this small little town and I want to get to that small little town way over there. I could get there on back roads, but if I just hop on the interstate, I can get there really quick. That interstate is Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
So I can hop over, I can bridge it over to the Ethereum network, and that's the ERC20. ERC20 is a code protocol for a token from another blockchain that is now on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's like piggybacking, like layer 2. Sometimes they say layer 1, layer 2. So the Grow token, I earned it on the native blockchain, on the Grow blockchain. Now I bridge it over, and now it has more mainstream acceptance elsewhere for people that speak the language of Ethereum. They might not speak the language of Grow, but I translated over. Now they speak the language of Ethereum, and I can trade it with them.
Love that.
Was that the rest of your question? Okay, so now, there's exchanges like Uniswap. Uniswap is a peer-to-peer exchange. So I'm trading. I compare Uniswap to like a farmer's market. Okay, so I go to the farmer's market, and hey, I'm selling my peanuts. You got some cash. You want my peanuts? We swap. Okay. So I go to the farmer's market. I got my Grow token. You've got some Ethereum. You want to swap? Okay. We're peer-to-peer. There's no middleman. There's no exchange in the way. We're meeting at the farmer's market that is called Uniswap. Okay. So I could go to Uniswap with some Ethereum, and I could buy all these different tokens at the farmer's market. Or I could take my Grow token. Like, hey, I grew these on my node at home and I want to sell them. And then somebody's like, hey, I want to buy them. And we swap Ethereum for Grow for Ethereum right at the farmer's market.
Love that. That's such a good analogy. I think it's hitting home for everyone. Yeah.
So I just remembered one of my other, where I came up with that. So this piggybacks to the last question. Okay. So if everybody's like, when are we getting on Binance? Right? Like, like kind of, when is this going to be the number 3 token in the world behind Ethereum and Bitcoin? Right? Okay. So that's the equivalent of saying, hey, I'm Lisa and I make homemade jams and jellies. And why aren't my homemade jams and jellies in every Walmart and the #1 bestseller on Amazon? And Lisa's homemade jams and jellies. Now I'm sure they're amazing, and they should be #1 bestseller on Amazon. But Lisa's got to start selling them at the local farmers market. And then once she's sold so many jams and jellies every Saturday for the last 3 months, then she could go to Nick's Corner Grocery that has 3 locations and say, hey, I've sold out these jams and jellies the last 4 Saturdays in a month. And I started a Facebook page and people are hunting me down and say, hey, I want to buy your jams and jellies on a Tuesday. I can't make it on Saturday. Would you like to sell my jams and jellies on your corner market 7 days a week? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. I'll sell your jams and jellies here. And then after 3 months, you're selling out at the farmer's market or your corner store that has 3 locations. Then we go to the grocery store that has 40 locations and say, hey, look at my sales data. Okay, take that example. The farmer's market is Uniswap. The corner store is like a tier 3, tier 4 exchange. Walmart, Amazon is Binance. And that's where we are. So we're selling Kathy and Brad's homemade jams and jellies.
That's brilliant. That is such a good way to think about it. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about halving, the halvings that happen. Can you please, because I think some people, they get freaked out. They're like, oh my God, but what about when it's all halved and there's nothing left? Can you please explain why the halvings exist and also the benefits of the halving for us?
Okay, so this might be hard for you to understand right now, but I'm going to try to win you over. I get excited about halvings. Okay, so basically, what a halving is it's a part of the tokenomics. So tokenomics is just the rules in the it's hard coded in the way that the distributions happen. And I can provide the links if you don't have them already. You could go in and look at the charters. Each of these blockchains has a charter that's been voted on that has the details of the distribution. Okay. And when a charter gets updated, it gets voted on by all of us. It gets voted on by node owners. And if we don't like the proposal, we could say no, or we could submit our own proposal, or whatever we want to do. But so these distributions are coded into the blockchain. Okay. So the halving, so the Bitcoin white paper, which it's not a fun read. There's no romance or Fabio's not in it or anything, but it's what all this was based on. Is Satoshi Nakamoto wrote this white paper on his idea for a peer-to-peer digital money. And that's what Bitcoin was based off of. It came right after the 2008 real estate collapse, because the US government and other governments were just printing as much money as they wanted and just flooding the economy and be like, oh, inflation, well, let's print some more money. Oh, more inflation. Why didn't we know that would happen? Right? So the Bitcoin algorithm, the Bitcoin tokenomics, there will never be more Bitcoin than 21 million Bitcoins. There will never be more Bitcoin than that. Okay. There could be, we don't even know how many US dollars have been printed, right? We don't even know, so that's what the limited supply was to control. It was a mechanism to control inflationary economics. Okay. So there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Now you could subdivide a Bitcoin. So they're in smaller increments. If you chop up a Bitcoin, they're called Satoshis. So there's people saying, hey, in 10 years, you're going to get paid in Satoshis. We're going to be a fraction of Bitcoin. Maybe that'd be cool. Okay. Because you can track it, right? Okay. Well, the way Bitcoin is distributed is every so many years, and it's a set number based on the number of blocks of transactions, but it's usually about every 3 to 4 years. Okay. So Bitcoin does a halving of the distribution, making it controls the supply and makes it harder to calculate. So over time, fewer and fewer Bitcoin get distributed, and that's the halving, and that controls the supply. And it was a mechanism invented from day one. Okay. So what it does a couple of things. Number one, it controls the supply. Number two, it encourages early adoption. It encourages you to contribute to it. And it triggers, again, this is one of these topics that we could go really, 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 really deep. But the long story short is our tokenomics models of these projects was based off of that. So over time, the distribution goes down. However, the intended, I guess, the hope of all of us is over time that other things go up, as far as utility and token price and transactions, because there are models that in the future the blockchain will earn transaction rewards. Okay, those will be distributed back to the node owners. So fast forward 10 years, the Grow blockchain will not be distributing any more of the initial distribution. However, the Grow blockchain could be distributing transaction rewards from all these transactions happening on the blockchain, which then those transaction fees go out to the Grow node owners. So in the future, let's say 10 years from now, all the initial 50 billion tokens have already been distributed. But Grow node owners are earning other distributions from other sources of revenue that the blockchain is contributing to. Does that make sense? How did I
Yeah.
do?
You did great. It makes complete sense. It's so cool. It is cool to fast forward 10 years from now and understand that benefit as well. I don't think, well, I'll speak just for me. I don't think my brain can yet comprehend what we can create here and what that might look like, which is
So
pretty cool.
the other cool thing for that, and I like to think about this some, is as members of the blockchain, we can make any proposal we want.
Mhm.
So if we have an idea for the blockchain, I mean, the blockchain it's a supercomputer, right? It's, it has a lot of other utility. Like they're working on creating additional utility for the nodes or other things that the nodes can do in the future. But like, if we have an idea, like, hey, the nodes could do this, and I think they could earn transaction fees or do this, we can submit it as a proposal and it goes to vote. And
That's
if
cool.
everybody votes on it, then it happens. One example I've used is if, let's say, somebody say works at a cancer research for pediatric cancer and they need more computing power to help work on solving, medical issues. You can put in a proposal that, hey, I propose we donate 10% of the computing power of the blockchain to donate for pediatric cancer research. Like that's possible if that's what the blockchain, votes to do. So, as
Yeah,
an
wow.
idea.
Wow, that's really cool. Really cool. Okay, let's talk about NFTs, Skippy, because we've got nodes, right? And everyone on here is either a node owner or looking to buy their first nodes. And then we've got NFTs. And I remember when I first jumped into Connect, got my 5 WIN nodes. There were so many projects that hadn't even launched then. And now when I go into my shop, it's like all of these NFTs as well. But can you explain just again in the beautiful way that you do in that simple form of like, what is the function of NFTs?
All right, so I'm gonna find a link. I'm gonna drop it in. We did a lunch and learn
Yeah.
on NFTs last week, and it was like an hour long of me and Rick's talking about NFTs. So, so I will try to dumb that down to like a 3 to 5 minute version, but I will drop the link to the longer version here. So, let's see, there we go. All right, so I guess the way most people think about NFTs, in my opinion, is not positive. I think NFTs have a stigma from the speculative digital art of the last 3 to 4 years. And most people think of NFTs as a picture of a monkey wearing a funny hat that somebody paid 7 ETH for, you know. And that was the original, I guess, foundation or the first use case. So NFT, it means non-fungible token. So meaning it's fungible means interchangeable. So like if I have a $5 bill and you have a $5 bill, we could just swap $5 bills and they're the exact same. That means they're fungible. Okay. Non-fungible would mean my NFT or my $5 bill was different than your $5 bill. Maybe mine was blue and yours was red. And so then they wouldn't, maybe I don't want to swap one for one because mine is different than yours. And I like mine better. But they're just on the blockchain. So blockchain tokens, blockchain items. So they're typically of a collection. So if I'm an artist and I come up with a collection of 500 and I number them, one of 500, 2 of 500, 3 of 500, and then I sell the collection. So that's the typical way that people viewed NFTs. However, NFTs have a lot more utility. And in the case of Connect, like the first NFTs to come out are the Boost NFTs. So these NFTs are giving you access to something, or they're giving you access to additional rewards. Here in New Orleans, there's a Web3 co-op that I'm a member of. I'm a founding member of, and my membership is tied to my NFT. So that is my membership for this club. I could sell my NFT to someone and I would be selling my membership. That is how they have attached the value to that NFT. So I mean, with that, that would be all my voting rights, my access. I would no longer be a member if I didn't have this NFT anymore. So NFTs can be for music, art, real estate. You know, there's use cases or proposed use cases that in the future, let's say an emerging government zone where real estate deeds are tracked on NFTs. So even if the government changed, the real estate can still be tracked through the ownership. And that would be tracked on a blockchain. So if the government is no longer in place, that still exists. So there's a lot of future use cases for the technology of NFTs, apart from just pictures of a monkey. With Connect, the first big rollout is these boost NFTs. There's a lot of future NFTs that Connect is rolling out, like Grows, like Farm Bot, where that will hold and mint the carbon credit NFTs. You know, so that's a future case. They're doing a like pre-sale, but that's what's coming next after these boost NFTs. They're also working on like a HODL NFT. So, you know, if you're hodling this token, you know, over time, you're just going to earn NFTs because you're hodling that token in this wallet. Mm-hmm. So does, do you want me to go deeper? I know I'm not trying to spend too much time.
Honestly, Skippy, I think, and maybe it's just me, that for me, I'm like, okay, got it. Like in simple form, I really understand that. And I think we're going to save that link that you've sent through. And I know you said you guys really went through it in detail. So that's such a good explanation.
That's a 42-minute video about NFTs.
Yeah, beautiful. Appreciate it. Can you talk to me about, let's talk decentralization, right? So first, maybe what is decentralization, but then the process to becoming decentralized. I heard, I think it was Will, who's the CEO heading up Grow, and I know he said something around with 5,000 more nodes sold, will be decentralized, or the more nodes sold, the more decentralized we are. Can you take us through that process?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little more high level. I don't have all the insight that Will does, but I can talk on the conceptual side of it. Okay, so decentralization, in my opinion, is a process. Like you don't start decentralized, or else who would do the actual work? Like who would, you know, how you can't just like manifest a decentralized organization into being. You have to have the people that have the initiative and the capital and the time and the know-how to get the ball rolling. And the people that want to put in the work to build something and want to lose control of it. So, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Like I want to put up money, I want to put up time, I want to put up my resources, but then I want to lose control of it. And it kind of goes against what you would normally think. But in order, I think, to get to where you want to go, sometimes that's the way it's got to work. So what I think Will is referring to is probably voting. So if you're looking at number of nodes sold, I think at the number of nodes sold, I think what he's trying to say is like, there's this many like founders nodes. Like, I don't know how many nodes Will personally owns, but I'm guessing it's more than me. So like at a certain point, when we're selling nodes and more nodes are online, Will's personal voting percentage is going down with every node that gets sold. So in my opinion, what he's referring to is the decentralization of voting over the blockchain. And at some point, you know, all of us voting as a group, you know, would have more voting authority over Will. Right? In theory, right? So if you're talking about like the process of becoming more and more decentralized as a voting, that's what that is. But then there's also like, if you look at decentralization just as a definition, I would say like no central point of failure. You know, when I explain decentralization, a lot of times I think about, say, you know, a bank, right? If a bank's servers are all in the same place and or the same cloud, or and then let's say the bank's main branch is in, you know, Chicago, and a blizzard hits Chicago and the power goes out, will I be able to go to my local bank and get money out? Does that bank have a central point of failure? So that's how I view decentralization. Does the entity have a central point of failure? So if you compare that analogy to, let's say, the Grow blockchain, if Will, you know, gets pneumonia next week, does Grow keep going? And I think yes. You know, so when you say decentralization, I think there's like 7 or 8 different ways to look at it. But like when I use it as an example, I think about a central point of failure for an entity or an organization. The other cool thing is, so like Farm Tracer or the Grow Mart, the Nourish Marketplace, those are just a couple things that have the potential of being built on the Grow blockchain. So if Farm Tracer went away, the Grow blockchain would continue. So again, there's different ways of looking at decentralization, but I tend to think of it as central point of failure.
Yeah, love that. That makes sense. Very cool. Let's talk about where we're at in just a timing point of view with, you know, they're talking about the bull run starting. They're talking about, I don't know, just even crypto in general, this whole space that we're in. Some people might be thinking, oh, am I late to this? Am I late to the game of this world? What would you say to that?
So I'm going to find a link real quick to a LinkedIn post that Brad Wilden did. That I thought was absolutely perfect. And he told the story of, let's see. All right, here we go. I'll drop the link in the chat. And he told the story of, like, in the early 1900s, there was a group of horse owners that didn't like automobiles. And they were trying to propose these different rules that if they were going down the street on their horse and you were coming down the street in your car, you would like have to pull your car off the side of the road and cover it up with a tarp so you didn't scare the horse. And then there was another one. Well, then if the horse was still scared, you had to take your car apart. And so the analogy is just like all technologies, you know, have an adoption curve. And right now, if you take that adoption curve, and it's the technology of, it's a bell curve, the technology adoption curve, and you've got your early adopters, and you've got your bleeding edge and your cutting edge and your early adopters. And right now, if you compare that bell curve to the same technology curve that's happened for automobiles and telephones and cable TV and the internet, on that, we're all in the early adopters phase. So what Brad goes on to say is that if you even know anything about crypto at all, or you are in crypto at all right now, you are early. Let's see. Yeah, and you could, like I said, you could compare that. So there's, you know, nobody really knows how many people are in crypto because, like, it's just guesses or surveys, but most people say less than 20%. I would say it's way less than that, because if you're guessing that based on how many wallets are created, I've probably got 20 wallets, maybe more. So if it's 20% based on how many wallets are created divided against the global population, but a lot of people have more than one wallet, that number is probably a lot less, actually.
Yeah, probably closer to 4 or 5%, really. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, just back to with the decentralization, Judy asked a great question. She said, how is it decentralization if we're all using, so Block Fabric is the third party that that we'll put our nodes on and they'll run that in the cloud. How is it decentralization if we're all using that system? Bit of a tech question.
So not everybody is using Block Fabric. So Block Fabric, I will say Block Fabric is one of the easiest ways to host nodes. I do not have all my nodes on Block Fabric. So I have some on Vultr. I have a couple that I run on some of my own computers. And a lot of people do that the same. A lot of people use other vendors as opposed to Block Fabric. But yeah, I mean, Block Fabric is, I'll be honest, Block Fabric is easy. Like the setup is super, super easy. So Vultr is a lot more technical process. But if you're a more technical person and want access to more of the data or to see, how the sausage is made, like a lot of people prefer things like that. So for example, to list or to host on Vultr, you have to copy and paste bash commands and take the bash commands, and they're listing the FAQs of the different projects, and then go in there and select the different type of server you want. But a lot of people that are more technical prefer that process. But yeah, I mean, nobody has to use Block Fabric.
Yeah, but if we were all using Block Fabric, then it wouldn't be decentralized.
I mean, there would be a point of failure. So if you look at it, if Block Fabric, something happened at Block Fabric, and Block Fabric servers went down. I mean, I'm willing to bet that Block Fabric is using multiple other vendors.
Yeah.
So Block Fabric probably is more than likely not a bunch of servers in somebody's closet. They're probably using other vendors and have other locations. But yes, if Block Fabric went offline, people that were using Block Fabric for hosting, those nodes would go offline. But then if you're looking at the blockchain itself, there are people that are not using Block Fabric. So the blockchain itself would still be up.
Yeah, makes sense. Awesome. Thank you for answering that. Hey, let's talk about what you see or what you believe we can all be doing to really help with the success of this. Obviously, being node owners, helping other people like purchase their nodes. But you were saying before, like all the big dog exchanges like the Binance, all of those guys, they're looking for the utility, they're looking for the community. And I know Discord is recommended. Like when we get our account, and you'll see it on the bottom right corner, it says join the Discord community, and then you can join the community for each of the projects as well. Why is that really important?
So Discord, and I'll be honest, I get it. Discord is not the easiest thing to learn or figure out or be a part of. So Discord was like kind of like the gamers' social media. And then crypto kind of adopted it. And in my opinion, so if you look at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, any other type of social media like that, and look at how it works. It's a brand or an organization or a company, and they're talking at you. They're telling you what they want you to see. Whereas Discord is a conversation. Discord is a community talking to a community. It's almost more reminiscent of like an old school like web forum chat room, just with cooler colors and better emojis, But if you look at it from like the community talking to the community, you can see why it's been adopted by blockchain and crypto, in my opinion. So if you're an exchange, or let's say if I'm a crypto trader or retail trader or an exchange or someone in crypto, and I learn about a new project, there's like a couple metrics I would look at to kind of gauge the health or the status as far as metrics of a community in blockchain. And one of those would be Discord. I would go look and see how many people are in their Discord, how active is the conversations. Is it just a bunch of bots talking to each other? Because you can do that. Or is it actual people really engaging with each other that actually care about the products and services or the utility or the mission? So that's one reason. So if you're looking at other metrics, the ones I look at are basically top social medias, but I look at like Twitter, Discord, Instagram. And then I look at like Coin Market Cap. Like, are there active comments in the Coin Market Cap community? Looking like searching for the project on Twitter. Are there other Twitter accounts talking about that project? So if you're looking at what we can do as a community, I usually log in the Discords every day and just go say hey in each ones, or if there's a recent. So I just posted a link tree. I think Billy made this one, but we've all been using it. And it kind of breaks down all the different projects. And it's like, here's their Twitter, here's their Instagram, here's their Discord. If we could get all the node owners to drop in and say, hey, on a regular basis, or, if you have a question, go ask the question there. But if you know the answer somebody else's question. I think that's really cool when you see this community member ask a question, and then this community member over here answers the question before anybody else can even get to it. And I think that's when you see, community growth. So, we were doing the Billy calls for a little bit, and then Billy's travel schedule kind of got unsustainable with the calls, and we put them on hold. Jake and I are doing one Thursday night. So we're going to start doing them monthly. And that's going to be our main topic, is like basically teaching community members how to be good community members. So we're going to do one Thursday night, and we're going to start doing that on a monthly basis. It's just in time for Halloween. Jake said he's wearing a Halloween costume. So.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you for doing that as well. We'll make sure we'll get those details and put it within our community as well. Skippy T, I just want to say a big thank you. I think you've covered off a lot right now, and those who are coming in new or still feeling new to this space, I'm certain that it's just given them some aha moments and really given them some more clarity around this space, which is so good. So just want to say, appreciate you big time. I know we all do, all the time and the effort that you give everyone in this community. It's really, really appreciated. Super grateful for you.
Absolutely. Thanks y'all for having me. And I'm happy to do this again. I didn't want to go too deep on any topics. I didn't want to lose anybody, or
we might do like a level 2 conversation next one.
Yeah. No,
this
absolutely.
one first, and then we'll go level 2. Dive a bit deeper.
Happy to do it, and or kind of narrow in on any one. So happy to do that. Or if you see me in the Discord, come say hey. Or so I will say this: if you are new to the Discord, there are people that pretend to be me in the Discord now that are scammers that will message you first. I will not message you first. So same thing with Jake. So he's JAD in Discord. Same thing with Rick's. We have people that steal our avatar and our name and will message you. And somebody sent me a screenshot that they said, "Is this you hosting like an investment strategy course? And I just have to Venmo you $500?" I'm like, no, it's not me. So we actually did one of the lunch and learns on like Discord safety. So while I'm encouraging everyone to come in the Discord, I'm also encouraging you to be safe, because we do not control it. It is the internet. So don't click on links that you don't know what they are, or they're from someone that you don't know who they are. So we can, as another thing, as a community, we can look out for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that, Skippy T. Great advice. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate that. And we'll get this recording out to you really soon as well. Beautiful. Thanks, Skippy T. See you guys.
See ya.